Okay, so welcome everyone to week 8. So as we supposed to do, so today we are gonna focus on the exam one that we had. We will work on syntaxes, and also there are gonna be two more questions based on the exam one, but it's a little more complicated query. So I will ask you that you also try on your side to just do it on your side. Then we will talk about the assignment 4, chapter 4. So if we have enough time, otherwise we will talk about it on Wednesday, next session. And also I will go through the functional dependency and the first normal form, second normal form, and third normal form from chapter 3 one more time. And if you have questions regarding those, you can just ask. So any questions so far, any concern regarding the previous week? All is okay, everything is okay, good, good. Okay. So before you need to do something, so make sure to open the advanced query editor on your side. And let me just okay, good. So make sure to have this advanced query on your side and change the database to MySQL and credential to Lorenzo is the exam data set that we had. Okay, so for the exam, as you already been through it, we had a database related to Lorenzo that there were these. Let me see if this one works. Okay, we had these 4 tables, these 5 tables: customer table, shipment table, truck table, driver table, and the city table. And as we see, also the relationship here are mentioned. For the exam, it doesn't work that much back then because we didn't talk about those relationship, one-to-one, many-to-many, those type of cardinalities that we had. We will also try to, if we have time, to just draw a class diagram for this as well. So we know the tables, you have the tables already. So the first question was related, give the names of all customers that are retailers. So probably there are a couple of you, at least I would say half of you got the full credit. So maybe it's a little boring for you, but we have some students that they need to have the explanation again. I will try to, at the end of this part, there are 2 questions, extra questions that I need you to do the coding here. So let's start with the first one. So again, the question asks us, give names of the all customers that are retailer. So in this case, we need to select when we are talking about the customer table. So for sure, we need to go to the customer table. And regarding the syntax, we have the select. We start with the select one, and then it asks us just give us the name. So for name, we just need to mention about the exact attribute or exact column, which here is just the customer name. And from which table? From the customer, and where when the customer type is retailer. So do you remember when we talked about it, how this code, what is the order of the functionality in the SAS, in the SQL, how this one works, what is the order? Do you remember how the order is gonna be? So how SAS will approach to this? So how is SQL approach to this code? Which line is gonna read it first? The way that we write it, we start with the select from the first line to the second line. But how? I mean, in what order SQL would run this code? We added in class, so
Wouldn't it be one?
when we write it, it's gonna be 1, 2, 3. Okay, but for the function in the running, it's gonna first read the second line from customer. Then it goes to the customer, and then it will see what type of condition we have, which is the where customer type is retailer. So it's gonna be the third line. And then according to this, it goes to the select version. Select is gonna be the output. It's gonna define what is the output. Okay. So in this case, it's gonna say, okay, select what type of, if it has asterisks, what would happen? Everything. It's gonna show us all the attributes, all the columns. But here we are just saying the customer name, so it's just gonna show us just the customer name. So do the coding on your side. That would be again great practice. So we can just, I would just easily just copy and paste it to just make sure we can save it. Yes. Distinct. Let me run it, then we will see. In this specific example, if you run it with distinct, nothing is gonna change because there is no duplicated name here. But as we discussed the other day, I would always use this thing, especially when it asks me from the name, because I don't care if there are multiple names here. I just need to know who is Jose Moiter. I don't need to see multiple Jose Moiter. That's why I changed that question in the exam. That the one that almost, I would say 80% of the class lost 6 points because of that question 4, I believe. No, 7 or 8, I will see. Yeah, that's why I removed that deductible point from it. So all the students got the points. So again, it's the simple code, almost as a, we can say the most simple one. So technically, that's the logic. So I would assume that all okay with the code. Am I right? For the second one, what is the customer ID and type of customer for the customer name October INC? Okay. So in this case, again, still we are talking about the customer, which means we are talking about the customer entity, customer table. So we need to address it from the customer table. Then it asks us what is the customer ID and type of customer. So technically it's telling us in the output, I just need to see these two attributes, customer ID, customer type, okay? And then there's a condition for us for the customer name Autoware INC. In this case, the same, we started with the same select code. So select customer ID and the customer type as a one that we are gonna see in the final output from which table? Customer table, where the customer name is equal to Autoware INC. We have many, not many. Yeah, it was a little more than normal that we had the issue with the quotation. Some students forgot to put the quotation. Okay, so since this is the string, this is the character, this is the text, we need to put it in the quotation mark. Okay, so after running, we can see that the customer ID is 3i81 and the customer type is wholesaler. So how many of you, for example, during the exams time, checked on this page, then try to implement your code in the exams? I mean, first you went to the advanced query. Did you try it at all? Have you tried that?
Yeah,
Yeah, it is, but the point is, yeah,
same thing.
yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, it could technically the same thing. You're right. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, You're right. I got my word back. Technically, yeah, just in a different shape. Yeah. Just the only probably risk that one have, maybe just by mistake, instead of running the text test, just by mistake put the submit. In this case, there is a chance of, so yeah, that would be a great. That one is also here. Technically, yeah, the same. So we can see that the customer name with this one, the customer type is this. So the third one, what are the truck IDs of the truck that have carried small shipments? Small shipments are defined as those that the weight is less than 800 pounds. So here, technically, it's mentioned that just you need to avoid the duplicate. So for sure, we need to use the distinct. So this time it's talking about the truck ID. So we need to go and see what type of attributes we have in the truck table. So asking us just about the truck ID. So in this case, as an output, we just need to see the column which is related to the truck. Okay. So technically the same, but distinct here mentioned we need to have it, and also from the shipment table where the weight is less than 800. And as you see, there is no quotation here this time for 800, because 800 is a numeric value. For the numeric variable, we don't need to put it in the quotation. Give name of all customer who are not retailers. Okay. So customers, this time again, customer table. So we had two ways for addressing this question. So the first one, which almost most of the students use this version, which they select from the select the customer name from the customer table, where the customer table is not equal to retailer. Okay, so we use this not, and in this case we have the not retailer group. But as you probably also know, that we can have the second version, which is, oops, use this sign instead of where not. We can use that. We can say where customer type with this greater than less than sign. We can say that this is it is equal to equal not version. So we all know about this, and we had it in our slide. So this one, it means it's not equal to retailer. Good. And give all the data for shipments weighing over 15,000 pounds. So when it says give all data, technically it means give me all the information regarding all the columns. Okay, so it doesn't ask us about any specific attributes or any specific column. Okay, so in this case, as we know, since we don't need to specifically mention about any specific attribute or column, we use the asterisk. So we will say select asterisk from which table? Shipment table, where weight is over than 15,000. Okay. So in this case, it's gonna be. So if I was supposed to see 15,000 also, where should I put the equal sign, left or right? Left or right? This one or this one? That one. Correct. So now if we have the 15,000, we will see in the result as well. So what is the customer name? The annual revenue, and the customer type of the customer with ID of 1592. Okay, so technically everything is similar to the previous version, but the point is just exactly tell us which customer ID they want to have. So in this case, I will start with the customer name, annual revenue, and the customer type from the questions. From which table? The customer table, where customer ID is exactly equal to 1592. I think for this one, we had one, as far as I remember, one student that they had in a quotation. And interestingly, for the other question that they're supposed to use the greater than, they used it in a right way. But for the equal, they put it in a quotation. Probably just small mistake, but yeah, that's the type of points that we need to always pay attention to it. Any questions so far regarding these questions? All clear? I think this is the one that I removed that constraint, I would say. Yeah, the question 7. So create a list in an alphabetical order of the names of the customer with more than 10 million in annual revenue. So the customer name. We just want to see the customer name as output, and we would like to see it from the customer table. I mean, we can just get this information from the customer table where annual revenue is greater than $10 million, and the order by customer name. So I would for sure use the distinct for this one. The book, the exams, they didn't use the distinct. That's why they deduct some points from the students. But again, I just removed that condition from it. I think yes. Yeah, there's that zebra. Yeah, zebra.
That would almost be, unless there was a new company, distinct companies with the same name, that there's an error or duplicate entry in the database.
Yes. Yeah. It should be because
That's why I would assume you wouldn't use it unless you have duplicate accounts. There should only be one customer name if they're business.
so. Tell me one more time.
So just, and this may just be me theory crafting this database laid out, but unless
If you can convince me, I will withdraw this one from all the students. If you can convince me. No, I'm just kidding. No, just kidding. Yeah.
be a need for distinct
Uh-huh.
if the database that each customer should only have one entry.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're trying to get all of the customer names to have revenue over 10,000, if that's the thing, it wouldn't necessarily, it's not talking about individual shipments that can be relationship wise tied to a customer. But there's only one annual revenue entry for each of these customers.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't be any duplicate.
Okay. But as we see here, without the distincts, we have it.
There is a duplicate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something.
Because again, there should be only one.
Only
annual.
one, yes. Yeah, and to be honest with you, about that, these things, there is always some vague argument exactly that should we have it or shouldn't we have it. And as far as I always remember that mentioned that whenever we use the distinct, if the result is different, so use the distinct. That's why I made a decision to just give all the students the grade. Yeah, but so if we just put the distinct here, so as we run, for sure, we will see that there is no duplicated value on it. And what is the name of the customer whose customer ID is 989? So easy. Select customer name from customer. Customer ID is 989. What are the names of the customers having over $10 million in annual revenue who have sent shipment weighing less than 10,000 pounds. So we are talking about different entities, different tables. We are talking about the customers, the questions address the customers, so which means we need to go to the customers entity or customer table. And then also it's talking about the shipment, so for sure we need to use the shipment table as well. So select distinct customer name. So here again, because it's as a customer name, we just use this customer name. Let me just run it over there.
I think that right there is different. I would imagine each
Mhm.
company can base it distinct, not distinct based on where.
Mhm.
So companies might have multiple shipments that have big
Yes, for this one.
thing.
Distinct, correct.
But
This one.
with revenue, there's really only one record. for
Yeah,
each.
exactly. Exactly. So here, yeah, for this one, it is more clear that we need distinct rather than the previous question. So we are using the customer name. We are going to see just the customer name as output, and from the customer table, from the customer table to the shipment table, the only path is through the customer ID. Okay, that's the error that we had multiple in the student submission, that they used different attribute here when they're trying to connect these two tables, which is technically the first rule, that you cannot connect two tables with a different attributes. It should be definitely same attributes. Am I right? So otherwise, how you want to relate these two tables together? So these two tables, that if you remember on the Red Cat Shoes data sets, I asked these questions. I think from the sales to the manufacturer table, there was no any road, any path, and I asked how we can relate those, and you said there's no possible because they are not any common attributes. They are not any common keys. And as we know, this key, we call it as a foreign key. So the foreign key, the primary key of one table is another table, it's going to be a foreign key. So that's how we can just relate these two tables together. So the distinct of the customer name from customer, which we use the alias here. So we can also not use them, but we're just using them. So customer, we call it C. The shipment, we call it S. So on which attributes customer ID from the customer table equal to customer ID from the shipment table, where the annual revenue is over than 10 billion and weight is less than 10,000. Is it clear why we have and here and it's not or? Yes, because we need to have the output that meet both conditions at the same time. So both conditions should be true. So in this case, we need to use the and version. I don't want to see those that the annual revenue is over 10 million, but the weight is less than, for example, over that 10,000. That's why we need to use the and as well. So question 10. Give the first and last name of the drivers who have delivered shipments weighing over 10,000. First name, last name, those attributes that we would like to see. Driver from the driver table, and also shipment from the shipment table. So now we know how we can just translate this English to the SQL version. So in this case, select, again, here we use the distinct version because we need to just know the name of the people. There is no point to need the duplicate value of those. From the driver table, which is D, join to the shipment table, which is S, on which attributes? On driver ID attribute. So easily we can see that the driver ID is the common key between these two. And as we can see that the shipment table has two foreign keys. which is normal, and where the weight is over than 10,000. Give the name of the customers in the city of Cleveland that have had shipments delivered by truck 3. Okay, so which table we are talking again? Customer table, also shipment table, and I need to know what are the common key between these two. The common key is the customer ID, so I can see the path, and also I can see the primary key is the foreign key, and the condition here is where we need to have exactly the city as a Cleveland. So in the quotation, because it's a text, it's a string, and the truck ID is 3. Okay, so in this case, we will see only the result for this condition, which is these two customer name that we have. And the last question of the exam. So what are the names of the customer who have sent shipment to just El Paso? Okay. And guys, if you have question, please let me know. So as we can see, we are talking about the customers, we are talking about the shipments. So, and we are talking about the exact city. So technically, we are talking about the 3 different entities: customer, shipment, and the city. So these 3 that we can just connect those. So from the customer to shipment, as we can see, the only path is customer ID. From customer to city, there is no point for it to just connect those. And shipment to city is a city ID. So technically, it's a join function, this time with the 3 tables. Okay? So okay. So again, since it's a customer name, let's have just a distinct one of those output. From the customer table, we will join to the shipment table through which path the path is customer ID. And again, we will join to the city, which we call it CI. So this time the shipment table to the city table will join it through the city ID attribute, where the city name is El Paso. And do we need to have this c dot customer name here? Should we have it in this example? Why yes, why no?
That way,
The cost underline name, on which tables you can find it. Since it's only on the customer one, there is no point to mention it that the customer name is from the customer table. But if, for example, find something that is available on the others, customer ID. If I wanted to see the customer ID here, then I have to mention that customer ID, or yeah, I need to mention that from which table that we need to put it. So that's it. Now these 2 questions, I need you to, let me just, okay. So start writing on your side. Write a query to display the customer name, truck ID, and the ship date for all shipments that were made using a truck with a model year greater than 2008, and use the alias on your side. Yes. And the questions one more time. Let me see, I can do the magic. Yes. Sorry to. Yes. I mean, just I need you to just do it on your side. That's it. It's a practice. Yeah, there's no point. I mean, so how many entities we are talking about in this case? How many tables we are talking? Three tables. So the customer table, truck table, and the shipment entity or table, or according to the object-oriented method, three different objects. Let's have the question, the answer. So, as the question directly asks us, it's asking about the customer name, the truck ID, and the ship date. Okay, so these are the three attributes that we would like to see in the output. So, from the customer to the shipment table, the only way is through the customer ID. So, from customer C join to the shipment. How we will join it through the customer ID path. Okay, then we need to connect it to the truck table. Truck table through the shipment one is gonna be truck ID. So we will also join to the truck table. We call it T. On which part? The shipment S dot truck ID equal to T dot truck ID. Based on which condition? The condition that the model year is greater than 2008. So that's the output that we can see. So technically, it's almost a three table join question, just with one condition. The model year is greater than 2008. So I hope that you could run it on your side. Let me go for the year function.
Model
So tell me, I will type it.
wouldn't be like where year
Mhm,
parentheses
mhm, mhm. Model
model underscore year.
underscore year. Okay.
With parentheses greater than
Yes.
why does that result?
Let me just. Uh, the model year. It's only here. Am I right?
Yep.
To be honest with you, when I was typing the code, I didn't think about this one. I just directly used this one.
Yeah.
But that's the interest argument. Something is wrong for sure.
My first instinct was to use that second function and where
Mhm.
resulted in no result.
Mm. Let's put it. You'll know. Oh, that's what. We use this year and month when we have the full date. When we have the full date, we said, okay, just use the year of that date. Here we just have the date, the year. Yeah. It's technically it's just a numeric variable. It's not a date format. It's a numeric variable. So let's go for this one. This is more complex. Write a query to display customer name, truck ID, first name of the driver, and ship date of all shipments where the shipment's weight is greater than 5,000 pounds. The shipment was delivered to a city with the population over 3,000 and the truck's model year is after 2008. First of all, in this type of question, you shouldn't just scare of the number of lines of the questions. It's just extra information. It's the same techniques. Which entity we are talking, find the entities. What are the common attributes between these entities? Find the attributes, find the foreign key, primary key, and then apply the where conditions. Here we have multiple where conditions. I will just come. You need help?
I am doing fine, thank you. You doing okay?
Yeah, great, thank you. Okay, let's start together. So the easy part is we need to have the customer name from customer table, truck ID from the shipment table, first name from the uh, driver table, and the ship date from the shipment table. I would always recommend you to just always mention which one from which table. It's definitely avoid some mistakes for the further codes, even though maybe it's just available in one table, but try to learn it in this way. In this case, when you have multiple attributes, now when you used to type the code in this way, you are not going to have any issue. So first, let us start. Again, it's the same process, just more tables. That's it. I mean, it's nothing strange. So from the customer table to the shipment table, the only path is customer ID. So from the customer, we will join the ship table. Okay. So on which attributes, customer ID, customer ID. Then we need to join we need to go to the truck table. Truck table, we should go through the shipment table. So we will join truck table as a T. And the only common attribute is truck ID. Then we need to join to the driver. Driver is through the shipment table. So join through the driver table from the shipment table. So shipment table to the driver table. And the last one is the city. Okay. So for the city, technically we are working with 4 tables in this case. So city, we call it as a CI. And the common attribute is city ID. Now it's time for applying the condition. And all of them are AND conditions. So we need to have the weight over than 5,000 from the shipment table. We need to have the population over 3,000. We have it in the questions that the population over 3,000, the population is only available in the city table. And the last one, the model year, same the one that we had, over than 2008. Any question regarding the syntax? So if we have more, yes. No. A equal B, B equal A. It's the same. So if we had 10 more lines to these questions, we shouldn't just be scared of the questions. Find the tables, find the entities, find the common attributes, and then start to write all the step one at a time. Good. So for the second one, for sure, is gonna be more interesting questions, and we will learn definitely better for the second question. So that's from the exam. Let me just close this one. Also, this one as well. I'm gonna go through chapter 3 first, and then if we have time, we will talk about assignment 4. Otherwise, we will talk about it on Wednesday, because we have multiple emails that regarding the chapter 3. So I'm not, this is your assignment, so I'm not gonna answer all of them, but we will go through some of them that we already been through. I think the first 2 or 3 in class, but let's just review some of them as well. So here in this question, it's asking us about the functional dependency. Okay, so regarding the functional dependency, if you remember, we talked that when it says A to B, it means A is going to determine the B, so and that they are dependent together. So in this table that we see, just the attribute names are ABDC, ABCDE, and some tuple or rows or data sets we have here. So it asks us the column A, let us start with this one. Column A determines column E. So we talked in class how we can talk about the determination of these two. Do you remember how we can determine these two? How we can say, okay, either the column A determining the column E? Mhm. So we always said, okay, for whatever instances in the column E, A, which, I mean, the one, the left one, should be a unique value. And if you remember for the example, I use my name and your name. So I would say, okay, customer ID 1 is Hossein. Okay, customer ID 2 is Sai. Okay, so let's say this is the column A, this is column E. Okay, so technically, I expect to see whenever the ID is 1, the name for that one should be Hossein as a equal. But if I see, for example, in the column E, the ID 1, for example, I don't know, AJ is not here today. So then we can see there is a multiple value for one instance of the first column. So in this case, it means this is not right. Okay, but if I have ID 3, and for the ID 3, if I have Hossein, it's fine, because we can have multiple customers. We can have multiple customers with the one name, but we cannot have one ID of the customers with the different value. So right now, in this case, for the number 4, as we see, so for A and E, for A1, tell me, what is the equivalent value for A1, E2, A3, A1, A2. What is for E2, A3? What is for A1, E2, and again, E2? So now, what's the answer for it? So as we see, for A1 is E2, A3, E4, so far so good. For A1 is again E2, okay. For A2 is E2, that's fine. So for customer ID 1, Hossein, customer ID 1, Hossein, but for customer ID 2 is again Hossein, that's fine. We can have multiple customer with the Hossein name, but we cannot have for customer ID 1, Hossein and Sai. Okay, so that means this one is true. So that's the one type of questions that you had in this one. The other one, which is start from number 11. Column A is the possible primary key for table X. So what does it mean by primary key of the table? How it should have just the unique value. Okay. So in this case, let me pull up the, what is it? Table 11. So the question is column A. So for column A, we have A1, A3, A1, A2. So we can see that there is a duplicate value here in this one. So you tell me you find one attribute, key attribute in this one. Which column do you think it's the key attribute? The only one is D. Technically, I answered just 6 questions from this assignment. And the last type of question in this one, I always mention I don't care about dictionary. You all already know it. I just need you to just learn about the concepts. Now we are talking about the composite one. What was the composite key? Those combination are the unique. Okay. So now taken together, column A and B. So column A and B, it's gonna be A1, B2, A3, B2, A1, B3, A2, B3. So technically all of them are unique. So it means true. So that's the type of you can say as a contribute. So let me find. So okay, A and C. It's A1, C1, A3, C3, A1, C1. Done. There is a duplicate value for this combination. Okay, so that's also a type of question. So for the normal form, what was the reason that we use these normal forms? We started the chapter 2 with just one table, simplified sales table, that it had multiple columns. And you remember when we, for example, wanted to put some information in, for example, for the customer ID and customer name, we had to always enter Hossein Mohit each time that we would like to enter data in that table. So this one create data redundancy. This one is gonna waste money, waste energy, waste everything. So we said, okay, why not just have one specific table for the customer ID, name Hossein Mohit, customer ID one. Now I just need to put Hossein just once in the whole data set, and forever I can just use customer ID one. So we mentioned that always the final goal is gonna have multiple tables. Then according to these tables, we can relate those tables and do all the queries. So that's why we try to learn about the normal form version. So for the first normal form, anyone remember what was the first normal form condition for it? As an example, we had a skills column, and we said, for example, 1% the skills programming, I don't know, management. The other one is just communication. And for the first normal form, we said we shouldn't have multiple value for each cell, for each tuple. So programming, I don't know, management, it's a multiple value. We should have the atomic value. It should be just one value. So that's the first normal form. For the second normal form, we had one precondition. When we have composite key, when we have combination of some key that together they are a unique key for the table, when we have those, for example, A and B is the combination key or composite key, C, D, E, all the columns. The rest of the non-key attributes, they should be just dependent to the whole key, not part of the key. That's the condition. For example, we had as an example, I don't know, the employee ID and I don't know, department ID. Together, it's unique. I am Hossein Mohit. My ID is this one in the Department of Information System Security. This is a unique value. Okay. But if I have here the department name is just dependent to the department ID. It's not dependent to the whole together. So that's the violation of the second normal form. And for the last one, for the third normal form, all of the attributes they should be related to only key. So we had that famous sentence that I mentioned that all the attributes should depend to the key, only the key, nothing but the key. And you can have to raise your hand to this side and talk about it. Okay, so that's the condition. So right now, let me pull up the for I think we talked about the first three, I would say. So let's go to the let me find something that's interesting. Number 4. So the attributes are social security number, name, address, salary, supervisor, and supervisor name. Okay. So according to this, I mean, technically you need to see the data to know that there is a multi-value for the data or not. But according to these attributes, there is no possibility to have multiple value. Each person have the one social security number. For sure, there could be error for it, but we are just talking about normal case. Name, just one name. Address is one address. If we had phone, maybe we could have multiple phones for some people, but address just one. So technically, this one could meet the first normal form. The first normal form, it's applicable here because technically we can have attributes that they are just going to have one specific value for each one. So are this one meet the secondary, the second normal form? For second normal form, I said there is a precondition for it. And the precondition is when we have composite key. Composite key. Since we don't have composite key, technically this one already met. Now let's go to the third normal form. For the third normal form, all the non-key attributes, they should be just dependent to primary key. Here, supervisor dependent to the supervisor name. Okay, so there is a one functional dependency. So technically, third normal form is violated. So the maximum level of normal form here is, where is it? The second normal form. Yeah. Any question regarding first, second, third normal form? That's how you need to just discuss each items. Just go through them and then do the rest of this. So technically for question 4, this is not a good time to start for the 4, assignment 4. So we will talk about the assignment 4 on Wednesday. And assignment 4 is also interesting. You just need to, again, understand the entities and then understand all the relationship. And just with those object-oriented method that we had, those 0, 1 asterisks, and also the specialization and generalization group that we had. So you need to go through those. I will talk about them. And again, as a hint, I will tell you which entities you need to have in the graph. So for sure, you need to find relationship based on those entities. Are we good? You happy? Good. See you Wednesday. Thank you. Okay, welcome everyone to the second session of our week 8. Today we are gonna work on chapter 4 assignment, and then we will work together on drawing 2 examples in order to practice more to draw those type of UML or class diagram. So far, any question, any concern? Hey, have you started the chapter 3 assignments? The one that we worked on Monday? Oh, that's good. So, okay. So next week we're gonna start working on chapter 5. We will cover chapter 5 in next week completely, and then next 2 weeks we will start chapter 6, which is I would say the main chapter of these all 8 modules that we have. So we will be more deep into the SQL, and technically by chapter 6 you can claim that, okay, now I know at least in a intermediate level of the SQL. So let's start about the assignment 4. So the assignment 4. So in the assignment 4, you need to design a UML diagram. I mean, according to the explanation. So Richmond Alternative Family Therapy is a small family counseling practice. It needs an information system to schedule appointments. These are currently 5 counselors working in the practice. Okay, so far I can get that there is something as a concept, and their facility has 4 rooms. So technically rooms can be also an objective here. And can be used for scheduling counseling session. Each appointment is scheduled for a particular date and has a start time and duration. So appointment itself can be a and each appointment is for exactly 1 counselor and exactly 1 client. So that's the type of things that you need to write for yourself. Right now, just with this small sentence, we can see that the relationship between the appointment, a relationship between the counselor and the client is exactly 1-to-1. So each counselor may have many appointments, and each client can have many appointments. Each appointment is scheduled by an employee. So right now we can see that there is another entity here, which is employee. And each appointment is in particular room, and each room can have many appointments. Additionally, appointments has 2 free text attributes. One is the assignments, which is the description of the what is the client may be instructed to work on in preparation for the appointment. It will need to be able to hold up 2000 characters. The other name is notes, which is just a place for the counselor to keep notes about the counseling session. It will need to be able to hold the 3000 characters. So finally, each appointment has an attribute that indicates if the client keep the appointments. Appointment must be made in such a way that rooms, client, counselors do not have time conflicts. Of course, when a new employee, counselor, client, or room is added to the system, it will not have had any appointments, so it's possible for each to exist without being associated with the particular appointment. Employee, counselor, clients are all people. So employee, counselor, now we have another one, which is the client. And it's mentioning that the employee, counselor, and client, they are people. So just with these points, can you say what type of specific features we are gonna have in our diagram. So we can see that we have the generalization and specialization in this case, because the generalization group is the people, and for the specialization, we have employee, client, and counselors. So they also have the standard contact information, all of these three: first name, last name, address, city, state, zip code, phone number, email address. In addition, so now it's saying us that what are the generalization group features, which those, and then each of these three category, each of these three objects, they're gonna have, for example, for the counselor, they're gonna have the degree suffix, and for the client, found out attribute that allows for free text description of how client become aware of the practice, and also for the client, the other attribute it's mentioning. So counselor in the firm are partners, not employee. However, it is conceivable that a counselor could be hired as an employee role as well. For example, one of the counselor could be hired as a marketing agent to promote the firm's counseling service. It is also possible for a counselor to receive counseling from another raft counselor or the system that they have. So the only kinds of people that the practice keep information about our clients, employees, and counselors. So employees, client, and counselor as a part of the people. So is it obvious why we have the generalization and specialization group here? And for generalization and specialization group, we have some features. There could be a relationship as a complete, incomplete. There could be also overlap or disjoint between the subset group. So any of you remember what was the complete and incomplete features in this type of relationship? For example, simple example that we have always here at school. So we have the employee as a super group or super class or generalization, and we have these two as a subclass or a specialization. Okay, so now in this case, what's gonna be a relationship? Is it gonna be a complete one or incomplete one? Complete. Why is it complete? No, they have to go. The one that you are mentioning is related to the joint, disjoint, and the overlapping. So in this case, when we have the when we are saying it's a complete, it means whatever inside this, it should be related to at least one of these groups. Okay. But for the joint and for the incomplete, for example, if this one was the people, it could be the people that are not staff or faculty in a higher level, not just in the or university. But for the joint and disjoint and overlapping, here, if a person is a faculty, is not a staff. If a person is a staff, is not a faculty. So technically, there is no overlap between these two groups. Okay, but for example, if we had just the employee and a student, we can have the student that they are also employees. So that would be a overlapping as well. So design your solution such that it represents the basic contact information in a single class and use the inheritance, the one that we are mentioning, to combine the contact information with other attributes of the employee, client, and the counselors. So indicate which attributes serve as identifier by underlying the attribute name. Do not include attribute to serve as a foreign key in the information captured by association. Create a conceptual model, data model consisting of the object sets, relationships, attributes, and so on, representing the above business case. Make sure to indicate cardinalities. So cardinalities, which means what is the relationship, for example, between the room and the appointment? Is it, I don't know, between the each room, it should be assigned, for example, to one, an executive one, sorry. Yeah. And each room, for example, can be assigned to whatever. So those 0, 1, asterisks, they've had the one we had. Okay. So how you design it? The easiest one is the Visio software. I was checking, we have the access to the Visio, but I don't think so that we have access to the software version. Because I was trying to download on my machine, it has, I mean, as you know, all of the KSU students, we have the license for the Microsoft 365. So in the online version, there is an online Visio in our account. But when I try to download it, it doesn't have any Visio that we can install in our machine. I don't know. If you had a different experience, let me know. You can. So, because I tried to download it from the 365, and I tried to download the Microsoft Office, it downloaded multiple softwares, but Visio was not there. But that's good. If you have the Visio, that's great. So if you have the Visio, online version, yeah, you can, but the point is that notation is not available in the online version, which is the data software management. Let me tell you. If you have the Visio, let me just tell you. Sorry. Visio, the last version of Office 365 is good. So if you have the Visio, search for software and database, and you will see the UML class diagram notation. So software and database, if you search for software and database, you will see, let me just, so the Visio that is here, so if I go to the all templates, and if I search for software and databases, software and databases, I was searching if that is why it doesn't show right now. Let me search UML class diagram maybe. Search UML. Okay. UML class. Oh, you see this one has the upgrade version, but again, it's not available in the online version. If you can download that, because when I went there, they installed Office 365 and it had just this software. That's for the Mac version. For the Windows version, it also doesn't have the Visio. But if you have the Visio, that's fine. So that's the one thing. So Visio, it's possible and it's easy software to use. If you don't, at this moment, I don't care. You can just open the PowerPoint. Because the graph itself doesn't matter to me. So you can just easily insert whatever shape you want here and just for example just name it I don't know, first name, last name, whatever attributes you have. And also again, you can just put another one as a client and just enter show.
Microsoft Azure, download.
Okay, that's good.
And you'll have to use the on it, but I just
Okay, that's good. So otherwise, if you don't have access, again, PowerPoint easy. You can just right now we just created a object, got the name on it, and also the attributes it has. So then just easily you can just copy paste, create a new one. This time, for example, room, some other what is it? Some other attributes and just easily graph a line between these two. And if you want to merge, group these two, you can just click, right click, and group. Now this one is itself an entity. And just when you want to insert the, what is it, the cardinalities and the name, just easily insert the text box. For example, 1. So this one. So you see, it's not a big deal. So you can just design. But there is also another software which it's a draw.io. So this one, if you search here for the shape as a UML, this one is also have some here. So you can also use this one as well. Okay, so draw.io. The book itself also suggests this website, Lucidchart. You need to create account for it, and then if you try to insert the whiteboard, so it asks you some questions. I don't want. I think if you search UML here as well, so here also you can see the UML. So there are some predefined example here. So you can just see. But the point is for this one, when you create the object, when you right click on the line, let me create a new one. Let's import, for example, this. Now I need to draw a line between this and this. And if I right click on it, where is the option? No, this is not right. Where- Okay. So if you right click on this line, there is first you can just type it, for example, the relationship between the for example, I don't know, library, class, whatever. So you can just write whatever verb you want. For example, the employee, the room has the appointments, those type of words, and also you can add the cardinalities here. Again, I would go to the Word and just simply work with that one, to PowerPoint, and simply work with that, because at this point I don't care about the exact shape of the diagram, if it's a round rectangle or it's just a normal rectangle, I don't care. So don't waste my time on these, and just go to the PowerPoint and just easily. And also you can also draw on the pen and paper and just scan it and upload it. That one is also works. Yeah. But for your case, you have the iPad, so just draw with your pen. That's the easiest one. So if you have the case. So we'll work after this one. We will work on two different examples for drawing. We will try to draw together. So as a hint for these questions, so technically we have one, two, three, four, five, six. We have 6 entities. So you need to have the room entity in your graph. You need to have the appointment entity in your graph. You need to have client, counselors, employee, and also you need to have that generalization group in your graph. So technically, I need to see these exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as it also we can see in the question. Sorry. Drawing? No. 6 different objects. Yeah, in a diagram. Yes. No. No. So, and so this one is also important. Express as many of the constraints in the scenario is directly in the class diagram as possible. If there is any constraint that you are not able to show in the diagram, you need to write it in the text. As a hint, so for you that you are in class, I should mute myself for the online student. But no, just kidding. But for example, one of the constraints in this case is you cannot have 2 appointments in just, for example, one room. So you cannot show that one in the graph. So you can just write. Just think about it, what type of constraint you would have. Try to also write them as well. There are 3 just constraints in this case that you need to think about it, right? One of them is related to the room, one of them is related to the counselor, and one of them is related to the client. So that's assignment 4. And I will grade them based on your file that you are gonna submit. And make sure to just submit PDF file. I mean, even if you're drawing or if you're taking picture or whatever, make sure to just convert it to PDF. Good. Any question? Is assignment 4 clear? Good. Now let's go and work on these 2 examples. And then for the first one, I need a volunteer to come here and draw the graph. And there is no point for being volunteer. Okay? There is no point. Just practice to confront your fears of being in public. I can just, you will have it in my YouTube channel. So if you subscribe, you can have access. I have 15 subscribers right now. And the good point is YouTube send me an email that you just passed your 10 subscribers. Oh my God. Just 10. Yeah, for sure. They will send to the 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, not just to the 10. For the 10, they will just send email. That's it. Okay. So the hospital appointment system. The hospital system need a database to track patient appointments. The system will store information about doctors, patients, appointments, and room. So doctors, patient, appointments, and rooms. The hospital system, I guess, each patient can schedule many appointments, but each appointment is for exactly one patient. So if you have the paper and pen, start drawing on your side. If you don't have, try to use the Word, the PowerPoint that I showed you. I need you to be active in order for this assignments. So each doctor can have many appointments. So I will give you a couple of minutes, then we will work to this one. Each doctor can have many appointments, but each appointment is exactly for one doctor. Each appointment take place in exactly one room, but a room can host many appointments. Each appointment has a specific date, time, duration. Okay, so it's telling us about the attributes. Doctors also have the employee ID, first and last name, specialization, and the contact information. Patients have a patient ID, first name, last name, rest. Rooms also have the room number, room type. So you need to design a conceptual data model for the hospital appointment system, which represent all the objects: doctors, patients, appointments, rooms, as object sets, their relationship attributes, and cardinalities. So start drawing on your side. Let me just a little move this one. So that's it. So technically, we just have 4 objects. So you just need to exactly draw for each the attributes for each, define the relationship between them, and then write the right cardinalities between these groups, these objects. I've never told you, you have a very Hollywood faces. Your face look like the Hollywood actor. To be honest with you, I can, yeah, and take it as a compliment. It's not really. Yeah, yeah. No, no, stop. Just describe the model. That's it. Design the model. Yeah, the model should have all
Do
the.
we talk to only one member for contact information or?
Whatever we have here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you don't need to write all of them, for sure. Would you like to come and draw? No, thank you. for, for your honesty. Yeah, it's so easy for Visio. with Visio. Oh, sorry. So doctors to patients. Which doctor? Okay. Yeah, the key doesn't matter. Yeah. Do you see any relationship? I mean, based on these, between the doctor and patient.
Yeah, I can do quarterly.
Yeah, no, this, for example, for sure there's a relation between doctor and patient, but in just in this example, it didn't mention anything about the doctor and patient. So technically that one is not needed. But yeah. But for the rest, the patient to the appointment, exactly 0110 infinity, and also appointment to room, exactly. Yeah, all correct except, I mean, no, that was also correct technically, but since we just don't have it, yeah, no, but otherwise the rest is okay. I'll tell you. Okay, so for example, the yeah, let him control. For example, if it's A, B, okay? So if A is related to, for example, 0 or infinity, 0 to 1, you need to write 0 dot asterisk, gonna be 0 to infinity, or it's just the one and only one, 1 dot 1. Yeah, or yes, yes. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Oh, yes, that's the appointments. Each doctor can have many appointments, exactly one doctor. Patient appointment. Rooms, correct. Exactly. And you see how it's beautiful with the Visio?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
University, usually you have access to Microsoft
Mhm.
365,
Mm-hmm.
but more advanced people like this, they lock behind downloading the actual product on Azure.
Okay.
You still have access, but you have to use the cloud.
Okay.
For Microsoft Cloud. Download it, install it. Like
That's good. That's good. So does this one support HDMI?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So
Pretty sure. Yeah, right
okay.
there.
Okay. Mhm. That's good. Mhm. But yeah, but try to just relocate these objects. In this case, that would be better. For example, make it vertically. Put the, for example, I don't know, the patient upside and the appointment in the middle, for example, and then room and, for example, yeah, it would be easier. So let's read together. So each patient can schedule many appointments, but now you're working on the appointment and room. So each appointment takes place exactly one room, but a room can host many appointments. Okay, correct. And now you are between patient and appointments. So each patient schedule many appointments, but each appointment is for exactly one patient. Appointment for one patient, okay? And that's the part that you don't need it. Yeah, because we don't have it. It's not wrong, yeah. Doctor, any appointment? One doctor. Correct. Thank you. Appreciate it. And that one's also good. So as we see, we have 4 entities. We have 4 objects according to the object-oriented method: doctor, patient, appointments, and the room. So we can see the relationship between these 4. So let's start from the left to right. So the relationship between doctors and appointments. We have that each doctor can have many appointments, but each appointment is for exactly one doctor. So doctor to the appointment, doctor can have one or many, and also appointments should be assigned to exactly one and only one doctor. Appointment to be assigned to just one and only one. Relationship between the patients and the appointments. Each patient can have many appointments, so technically just one and many, but each appointment is exactly assigned to one patient, so one and one. And the last one, appointment, why I'm saying appointment to the room. So each appointment is exactly assigned to one and only one room, but each room can be assigned to many appointments. Is there anything unclear about this example? Ask me if you have a question for it. So here we don't have any generalization and specialization. We don't have those inheritance stuff. But for assignment 4, you need to have those related to the people, employee, client, and counselor. Good?
I have a question here. That line there below, is that separating like primary key for that table in this diagram?
So sorry, I didn't get
So
it.
I just noticed that on these, the first one, except on this one where it's the first 2.
Mhm.
Is that each diagram showing what the primary key is for this, or is that unrelated to UML diagram?
I think it shows.
That's what I'm saying. Is did it
Mhm.
automatically select these as the primary key?
Or
Class.
maybe the one that you put as a first attribute is gonna be a primary.
Okay. And my only confusion there is when I created the doctor table, it selected the first 2, even though employee ID would function just fine as primary.
So right now I can see that just employee ID is the one about it. Oh, because of that line?
Yeah, I'm wondering. I was trying to see how to.
So maybe you made some error. I
I'm
mean, you didn't
wondering,
see. Maybe
because I'm not just seeing.
so.
it
Try
completely.
to, for example, copy this one, copy the whole, I mean, entity, and paste it. So now, for example, change it to the employee ID and the rest to see if
I could, yeah, I could potentially do that. Just to replace the with doctor.
yeah. Let's see if that works. Yeah. Sure.
For example,
Mm-hmm. Each appointment. Okay. So when we are talking about the entity A to the entity B, the relationship from entity A to entity B is gonna be next to the entity B. So this one is related for this one. This one is related for this one. Work? No. Does it work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Probably some error happened. Okay. So the next example. It's related to the library system. So library system designed So the library system is designed to manage books, members, loans, and librarians. Okay, so technically, so far four attributes, objects. The system keeps track of the book details, member information, loan records, and librarian management. Each book has a ISBN number, title, author, and genre. A book can be loaned many times, but is only associated with one loan record at a time. Each member can borrow many books, and the system tracks their first name, last name, membership ID, and the contact information. Each loan is associated with one book and one member. It records the loan date and the due dates. Each librarian manages loans and members, and it's assigned unique employee ID, name, and contact information. Members can borrow many books through loans, and librarians can manage multiple loans. So the same like the previous question, just make sure to write the diagram. And I need one more volunteer. And one thing that uh, just ignored in the previous example, and also make sure to add this one, write a verb between these entities. For example, room assigned to that appointment. So based on your vocabulary knowledge. Hmm? Why it should be a relationship if it's a 0 to 0? Which one you're saying? Okay. So one volunteer comes and we will draw together. So yeah, come here and
I mean, I could
listen. This one. Yeah. So yeah. So let's also please explain as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So it looks, I started with the loan table because everything kind of, oh, okay, that works. Because everything sort of started with that. So the loan table had, of course, the loan date and the due date. And I made both of those the primary key, the combination, a composite key, because there might be the same loan dates or the same due dates for some. So let's see, loan date, and then that one's actually due date. Pardon my handwriting. That's sort of the first one. And then next we had members. Okay. That's the member ID. First name, last name, contact info. First, last, contact. So I put it as each loan goes is 1-to-1. And then members, you might have a member registered with no active loans. So it could be 0 to many. They might have multiple books on the loan. And then I did book. And it's a little bit cramped on the whiteboard with how I've chosen to draw it, but you have the ISBN, the title, author, and genre. Mm-hmm. You have all that information. And so for this, I did loans are 1-to-1. Each loan is for one book at a time. And then for books to loan, I did 1 to many. And then the last one was librarian. And so for the librarian, which you have just the employee ID is the one I'll write.
Yeah.
And then the connection here, I did. So the librarian might have, they could be a new employee, so they might have 0 loans, but still be recorded to many loans that they're managing. So 0 to asterisk. And then the lower one, each loan only is managed by one librarian, so 1-to-1. Oh, yeah.
Your voice is much better than me.
Okay.
So, so we had 4 entities, 4 objects: member, book, loan, and librarian. So as we see here, each member can have for sure 0 or many loans, which is obvious. But each loan, if there is a loan, for sure it's just assigned to one member. Relationship between the loan and book. So each book can be loaned 1 or many. but each loan, if there is a loan, it should be assigned to just one. So just again, one more time, pay attention that when we are talking about the book and loan, the relationship between book and loan is gonna be here, and loan and book is gonna be on the other side. So that's the important point. It's gonna be on the other side of the objects for each object. And for the loan and librarian, so if there is a loan, one librarian people did it, one and only one, and each librarian can have at least can have 0 or many loan as well. So simple, huh? So the same for assignment 4, but for that one, editor, yes. Oh yeah, we forgot again. So let's. Your English is much better than mine. So the member can take a loan. What
Or
have? Okay, have. So a book loan. Be loaned. Okay, and the loan and the librarian manage. Cool. Good point of having English native language speaker in class. So yeah, that's the type of words that verbs that you can use in your graph as well. Cool. So next week, chapter 5 will start, finish in just 1 week, and then we will jump into chapter 6 by next 2 weeks. In the meanwhile, make sure to do the quizzes. Just don't wait until the end of the semester. And also next week, that would be great. I mean, by next 2 weeks, before the next 2 weeks, make sure to just one more time review the SQL codes, everything to just get ready for the chapter 6. Yes. Yeah. Which one? Each librarian manage loans and members and is assigned librarian and member.
There wasn't an entry on the member list to say which librarian created their membership. I was just thinking, like, maybe you could do a connection between a librarian and member based on that. But because there wasn't under the member list, there wasn't like a link that showed registered by this librarian. I neglected it. You definitely could though.
No, I didn't. The one that I also have, I didn't expect to say. Yes.
And
They are same. They are almost the same. The only things that have for the assignments, you need to have the generalization and specialization group, the people as a general, subgroup, client, employees, and counselor. But the rest is the same. That's why, yes. Sorry? Yeah, I will. So I will make sure to merge these two together, and I will upload it by tomorrow on my YouTube channel. So make sure to subscribe on my channel to receive more content.
maybe you should like call and subscribe. or
Subscribe.
something like
No, that's a little extra. Yeah. Okay, good to see you. Yeah. Maybe one day I can just resign from being a professor and be a YouTuber. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye. Hey.